I'm Russ Taylor. I'm the Emergency Management Agency Director for Marion County. I started in March of last year, so I'm not new to the EMA world, but I'm new to Marion County, I guess you could say. Anyway, we are expecting some sort of a threat this weekend to Marion County from winter weather. It's been a very difficult forecast for the meteorologists at the National Weather Service in Birmingham. We're in their forecast area. So because of multiple factors, it's been very difficult for them to pin down primarily how much and what type of precipitation we're expecting and when. So there's going to be multiple rounds of weather coming through this weekend. Friday night, Saturday morning, and then again kind of Saturday on into Saturday night and Sunday morning. There's just going to be sort of waves of some sort of precipitation, and that's what's still up in the air. What we do know for a fact, Sunday night and Monday night, we are expecting frigidly cold temperatures. Single digits, wind chills negative in some areas, maybe not quite Marion County, but we'll be having single digit temps, lows Sunday and Monday night. It's the type of weather that's very concerning, even if we didn't have precipitation. Plants, pipes, pets, people is what people tend to talk about when we talk about that kind of cold weather. What exacerbates those issues and those threats is whatever precipitation we're dealing with. Basically, whatever is still on the ground Saturday evening when the sun goes down, we're probably not going to see temperatures above freezing in certain parts of the county until Tuesday, maybe Tuesday afternoon. So especially the northern part of the county. But in my experience, anytime meteorologists are having this much trouble really nailing down a forecast, I mean, we're 36 hours away from the onset of the event, and it's still up in the air where the transition line from snow to ice and ice to rain is going to be. I take that as it's just as likely to shift back down to a worst case scenario as it is that we don't have any sort of impacts. So our job as for emergency management, I deal with all of our first responding agencies, I deal with utilities, I deal with the road crews, and then I'll be the liaison to state agencies should we need outside resources. Our job is to prepare for the worst, so that's what we've been doing all week. We've got county assets staged throughout the county. So we've got guys working at different road crews that maybe ordinarily don't take a county truck home. We're going to put a chainsaw in that truck and we're going to send them to the house. That way, should roads, conditions, travel be jeopardized, we've got people. I'm not asking a guy to drive 20 minutes to Hamilton to jump in a county truck, get a power saw, go out there and clear a road. He can just go straight from his house. I'm that way. I'll have a chainsaw in my truck. We got chains we can put on the tires that if we need to get somewhere, regardless of how bad it gets, we can take care of things. So that's kind of some of the preparations we've been making. This morning here at the EOC, we had close to 30 stakeholders from around the county, elected officials, folks from the different school districts and the municipalities showed up to hear the weather brief from the weather office in Birmingham at 10 o'clock this morning. So everybody got the same up-to-date information at the same time. And then after the brief concluded, we kind of had a brief meeting where everybody shared their concerns and the preparations that were being made and the things that we're worried about and how we're going to address whatever issues come up.
Okay, Russ, if you would, what suggestions would you give those people that live in a rural area that don't have a generator or another source of power except for electricity?
Right, so if electric power is your only means of heat, that's the section of the population I'm most concerned with. Should we deem roads impassable, like county maintained roads impassable, then we'll encourage people to stay off the roads. But we know Sunday and Monday night's going to be cold enough to jeopardize people's health, your quality of life, infrastructure at your home. So if electric power is the only means of heat that you've got, it is paramount that between today, tomorrow, Saturday, that your two biggest priorities are going to be to have multiple avenues of receiving communication. So emergency messages we may push out. Just as important would be weather information, whether it's straight from the Birmingham office or any of the apps that are out there. All that information originates from the same spot. So I don't advocate one versus the other. What's most important to me is that people have multiple means of receiving, emergency and weather information. Something that's important for people to remember is to think through who you're dependent on to get that information. So if I live in a place like at my house, I live in a rural area, I don't have the greatest cell phone coverage. So I'm dependent primarily on, the internet connectivity. Well, how does that get to my house? Kind of having a basic understanding of who you need to get in touch with. If you're on Alabama Power as your internet or as your electric provider, or if it's Tom Bigby, they're doing the same job, but it's not the same company. Alabama Power, depending on where the impacts are, where you are on your line or on their line in their system, it's varying degrees of priority. And I don't mean to come off as saying that any one customer is more important than another, but it's just the logistical fact that if an entire town is without power and then there's one spur of a line out in an unincorporated area, well, they're going to take care of the people in town first. So kind of knowing where you fall on those priority lists, and like I said, knowing who you're dependent on for those utilities and the things that are going to help you get through here, that's very important. So making sure that you've got multiple ways of receiving communication, and then just having a plan. Like, what are you going to do when the lights go out? Where are you going to go Sunday, Monday, when those temperatures are frigid? And then, what makes matters worse is if we have deemed roads impassable, or if travel conditions are impacted by the precipitation that's on the ground, you need to be thinking through the worst case scenario. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do if the power goes out and the roads are frozen? Saturday night, Sunday morning is not the time to figure that out. Sunday night for sure it's too late. You need to be thinking about that now, and what you're going to do. Basically, we encourage people to be able to support themselves for 72 hours. Now, our first responding agencies, we're not going to let you go 72 hours without help, but we can't guarantee that we are going to have enough resources if we've got widespread power outage and damage. We can't guarantee the sheriff's deputy can just drop everything he's doing to go and get you out of the ditch. I like to tell as many people as will listen, it starts with you. It starts with personal responsibility, personal accountability. Think about yourself, your immediate family. Once you've kind of got that figured out, if you're able, think about your neighbors, think about the elderly in your community. That's where I'm a very big proponent of doing everything you can to not depend on someone